Hi, I'm Mike. Kate gave me some writing prompts, and I figured I would try to go audio. And one of them is, what do you want to communicate to my son? What do I want to communicate to my 13-year-old AJ? And so I figured I would dive right in with one of the perhaps more challenging topics to talk about: love. And so I gave myself a handy dandy note card to write down 3 bullet points. And so I wrote intuition, communication, and community. I first didn't start with intuition, but why it surfaces for me is I think it's the first step in figuring out how to love yourself. That process of healing, self-discovery. This certainly wasn't a message when I was 13. We get this, all these messages of love, and, is it romantic? Is it service? But we don't, or at least I did not give myself space to really figure out what the idea of love meant to me. Like, what did it mean internally? What did it mean to listen to my intuition? And so I want to convey to my son that whatever you need to do, whatever passions or interests that allow you to cultivate those inner feelings, whether it's being in nature, spending time with your family, and just giving yourself some time away from all the noises and the distractions, so that you can develop that healthy relationship. Because I know Thich Nhat Hanh always offers it, James Baldwin. You can't love others, my partner Kate, you can't love others until you love and heal yourself. And I think that comes from awareness and intuition. And then community is number 2. I don't think it comes as a surprise to anybody. We live in a society that really pushes for individual success. We have these shows that show the loner detective who deep down inside has the heart of gold, but they do it their own way, and they don't need anybody else. When you look at this existence, we're all interdependent. I need plants to breathe. I need friends to talk to. I need family to be with. And so I really want to encourage everybody, not just my son, to how can you have a healthy space and community? What does community look and feel like to you, where you can develop that intuition, that self-love and healing, and have a space for community? And that can be everything from super organized to informal. Just a space where you know that you're not dealing with this existence alone. You have people that you can rely on and that you can show up for. I think also one of the challenging things for me has been accepting love and accepting help. And so just encouraging that early on. How do we receive love in community? How do we share love in community? And, how do we use that intuition, that reflection time to think about what that looks like? Just whatever it is, find community, whether it's playing games, making dinner, I know my 13-year-old doesn't do a lot of cooking, but he can cook. Yeah, what does community look like? And then, yeah, along the lone lines of getting away from this rugged individualism myth that we can do everything on our own, and we don't need to honor and share our thoughts and feelings, is communicate. I like to tell folks that I can't say that I'm beyond it. I have iceberg vulnerability at times, like where I just give you just enough to show you but like I'm not sharing quite yet. I'm getting there quite yet. Like what's underneath the surface? Like what are the things that are really at my core, which I'm afraid if I share, you all are gonna ostracize me as soon as I open my mouth about it. And I'm working on that, but I really want to encourage, and I wish we had more systems, whether school, work, that really emphasize the importance of communication. And I think of communication as two ways, because it's listening. Again, like I said, with all these competing factors for our attention, it's hard to learn how to listen deeply. A lot of times I wait to talk, or I think I have some advice, when I really need to sit back and be present and listen, reflect, notice how I feel so that I can communicate authentically. And I think we all have these, or at least I don't want to say we, I don't want to speak on behalf of anybody else, but I think I do have those qualities, those innate qualities. But I know I've been conditioned otherwise, and I have to be very intentional and think about ways in my life and in my practice where I can, show up with a sense of love. And I guess, what it's hitting me now is I would have prefaced, these three things and say, you know what? This is what I'm working on, but on the topic of love, I encourage you to think about what works for you. And that's that intuition prong, and be like, thanks for your advice, Dad, and I will do my best to listen to it, but I definitely encourage you to listen to what's best for you, because there's such pressure to do what other people think is best for you, especially in middle school. And quite frankly, it doesn't get any easier when you're 42. But slowing down and being intentional. So while doing the preface at the end, come to your own conclusions. Hopefully you come at it with an open mind, but I try to let love guide my existence. Some days it's wonderful, and some days I feel like I'm really in tune and I can show up for the hard stuff. I'm not turning an eye, I'm not putting my head in the sand. I'm greeting the world head on and trying to do so, after years of my own practices and healing, with a sense of love. And other days I'm not. I'm more reactional. I can look back at the end of every day and say, man, I wish I would have done this differently. So yeah, this is my writing prompt, trying to think of all different modes to capture how I'm feeling and share, because I want to really embody how I'm feeling, the sense of intuition, and reflect, communicate, with the deep listening as being very important. And so that way I'm thinking about what I'm communicating. And then community. We can't do this existence alone. We all need each other. And that's where the joy and the magic is taking this time to be intentional, sharing it with others. So, as my prompt to my son, I love you and keep learning about this existence.